Hello, everybody. Full interest. My Hero Academia episode, whatever the number is.
56.
Probably.
The title is Rush in all caps because it's exciting and there's an exclamation mark at the end.
I'm trying to think of the fucking lyrics to Tom Sawyer, but I can't because I suck. Something, something. Oh, river. Something. Da dun da dun. Da dun da dun. Anyway, I like Rush.
So this episode does kind of conclude the first part of the exams.
Pretty much, it almost seems in a rush to do so, which
Yeah.
is fine.
It's
We saw what we needed to see from this.
it's kind of interesting because we had the mostly filler episode last time, which was meant to kind of make the scene a bit longer.
Yeah,
And as a result,
pad it out, but also establish things that happened that were just kind of ignored.
And as a result, it made this episode feel shorter because the pacing is slightly off.
Yeah, but that's fine. I'd rather have that episode than not, to be honest. That other episode. Yeah. So, this one starts with Earthshock Joker, is what I'm going to call him now, just to distinguish him from the multiple other Jokers, including the other one in the show. He recaps basically everything that happened during this little arc so far. And then they come up with a plan. And that's not really important because we don't actually see any of it.
Yeah.
They just sort of show up and then they're gone until we find out that they passed. So, cool.
We don't have enough room for more filler episodes. We're sorry.
Yeah. There was never going to be anything that focused on these characters. They
really don't matter.
They really don't. Like, they were brought up immediately, but then just kind of fell by the wayside.
They matter. They're brought up, but they probably matter the least in this entire arc.
They were pretty much only there to establish the whole crushing of UA thing, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a little sad. I mean, this guy seems okay. I'd like to see more of him. I'd like to see more of Shot Girl.
It's a little sad, but at the same point, at the same time, I can see Horikoshi being like, I still need to give a lot of the members of Class 1A actual more screen time.
Oh, hey, I completely skipped over 4 of the characters in my main class.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't need to spend extra time on these random nobodies that just sort of showed up. That's probably fine. I think I can move on. I'm starting to talk like Tom Scott. That's not okay.
But that's kind of the kind of the logic I see there is you're having what is basically another tournament arc. Tournament arcs introduce a lot of characters. You kind of are still trying to work with the characters that you already had. You might want to just back off that for now. They can come up later, much later, but not for right now.
You keep calling this a tournament arc. I'm not sure I entirely agree with that, by the way. I think Naruto kind of muddied the waters by calling it the Chunin exam and then having a tournament at the end of it. It's not really the same thing.
When I say tournament arc, I mean it in the broadest sense possible, as in it is a large event in which many people are competing and introduces a lot of characters at the same time.
That's very broad, though.
That's why I said it in the broadest sense possible.
Yeah. Also,
it serves a similar function.
I kept forgetting to mention, I had noticed something, I think in the previous episode, in the intro, at the end when it does the whole class spread of all the characters right at the end, and it turns out Hagakure is right in front of the camera, and you don't notice until her gloves are in the air. And if she was there, she would be covering the entire rest of the class, but she's invisible.
So good.
It's kind of cute.
I just love when they use her for shots like that. That's just great.
It makes so much sense because she's an attention whore, kind of.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it would make sense considering she's invisible. That's a personality trait you would develop of hey,
absolutely.
Look at me.
Not judging, but
Yeah.
That is a character trait. And it's pretty. Yeah. Anyway, so we get. I believe next is Todoroki's in the waiting room. the antechamber, waiting for the next exam to start, and he sees the 4 that we saw pass last time enter.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, that's 5. That's pretty cool. Nobody else, though?
It's not looking so good.
Yeah, and Shiketsu dude, whose name I forget every time, is just sort of glaring in the corner, because that's what he does.
Glaring in the corner.
Everyone needs a hobby, especially that guy. Then we get, I'm not sure if it's then or if it's at some other point, but we get Deku, Uraraka, and Sero doing the planning, and that's pretty much it for them. I mean, to just really condense the whole thing into just a quick thing, they do the planning, and then they get attacked, and Sero tapes everyone down to the floor, and...
Well, they use Gravity Girl's power to basically make the rocks hover as, like, counterweights, and then, like, use the tape connecting to him, bring it down to create basically a web.
Yeah.
Which I think is actually a creative usage of combining powers.
Yeah.
And I really like it when they do stuff like that, where they combine powers, and you get interesting sort of combinations that you may not have thought possible before.
Yeah. I mean... My only thought is it's a little anticlimactic for the protagonist's ending for this, but that's fine, whatever.
Deku always gets the climactic.
This isn't really the ending of this whole thing, so, you know, it's fine. He doesn't need the climax for every arc.
Shiketsu's dude's name is Inasa.
Thank you. So, yeah, they pass. Cool. And one of the people that, you know, getting... points off of, so to speak, is like, hey, come on, we're on our last year, we need to pass this time. And Deku's like, I need to pass too. And that's it. And dings him with the balls. Which brings up something interesting. You know the whole thing with you know, villains are on the rise and they're recruiting and there are all these organizations popping up and threats are appearing from out of the woodwork of, like, new villain organizations. Oh, no. Yeah. And the heroes aren't strong enough to deal with them. Wouldn't having people who train for several years to be combat specialists and then not allowing them to be combat specialists be kind of a bad idea?
Like, in this specific time period... I don't want to spoil what's coming up because we have people who are anime only. But you remember what happens to those who fail this, right?
They get attempts to try again until they're in their last year, I guess, and then I don't know.
Well, specifically with some of the characters who failed, there was a specific... I don't want to go too deep into spoilers, but there is a remedial of... They later give the justification of, yeah, no, we really need heroes right now.
Yeah, but that was in, like, the second exam. The one that comes after this, the people that failed that, they got to go for the remedial training and do that.
Yeah, but, like, would they get a remedial after this?
I don't think so. I don't think that's ever established to happen.
So, I don't know.
So I think that's around 1,000... would-be heroes that are now no longer would-be heroes, and will be wondering what they're going to do with the rest of their lives with all these combat training that they have under their belts that they can't use legally.
I feel like there is there's got to be a remedial thing. It's not going to be everybody who fails is like, it's not like everybody who fails would... Here's the thing. I'm trying to think of a way of how this would actually work, because it is completely possible for people to just fall through the cracks. But normally people on this scale don't fall through the cracks, because normally it's like a 50% pass rate.
Normally, yes, but it isn't this time.
For this time, though, I'm thinking that because it's a different rule set, they are having it to be kind of a higher grade of remedials, possibly.
I think
you don't want to waste.
I think you're having a little too much faith in a decision that was made very last minute.
Yeah, true. This is a
For them to have that much of a fallback plan for the people that would fall through the
yeah.
cracks, as you say, I don't think that's there, and I think this is going to come back and bite them.
Like this is a point where your society is flawed and is currently floundering right now. So I really do want to see what it's like. Like now that you bring up that point, I really do want to see these characters come back and see what they went through when they didn't make it.
I mean,
I think now that you bring it up,
I feel like
could help.
later on there is an example of a character that wanted to be a hero but couldn't
Yeah,
make the cut.
yeah, but it's not exactly the.
It's not exactly the same circumstances, but it's similar enough to give me pause.
Yeah, that character got a lot of tries. I'm not sure how many tries these guys got, but it's something to really consider, though.
Hmm.
Like, especially in this particular setting. Um, I mean, if you have all that combat training, hey, go be a police officer and don't use your quirk because you're not a hero.
Because you don't have a license, which is the entire point of this.
Yeah.
Whoops. Oh well. If that happens, that'd be really cool, and I'd feel really proud of myself for catching that. But yeah, that would be an interesting story twist. Is that
Makes
they
you
fucked
wonder
themselves.
if the police chief who's a dog failed
I
his
love that guy.
provisional license.
I love
Did
that
he
guy.
did his dog powers not successfully net him a hero license, or did he go straight for police officer?
Who knows? I mean, did Officer Cat do the same thing? It's fascinating to me that there is a cat police officer and a dog police chief. I wonder how that
It's a
promotion
dog eat dog world.
thing happened.
It's a dog eat dog world. That's how.
Anyway, so yeah, they pass, and they go to the antechamber, and yay, got a bunch of us here now, cool. And Bakugo and Kaminari are facing off against Meatman.
Mm-hmm.
The Meatman cometh, and what's his name? Kirishima is still
Yeah.
various
Meatballs.
meat puddles.
He's
on the floor.
meatballed.
Yep.
One meatball.
Oh yeah, you're right, because all the other ones were other people. Yeah. So the Meat Man is giving them shit for not being dignified enough, and Bakugo is like, "Dude, put up or shut up," basically. And they have a bit of a scuffle, but it turns out the Meat Man did a tricky thing by having one of his meat tentacles go around
Yeah, because they're elevated.
around the bottom of the elevated highway that they're on, and sneak attack. And Bakugo throws an explosive at Kaminari, just here, basically. And a fight happens. Kaminari has discs now
Yeah.
that he can launch at things, and they're basically electric tethers, lightning rods, more or less.
Yeah, which is I like that idea because it really helps him be able to focus his power without necessarily solving his problem completely. Like he's still like his most powerful attack will tend to be the big outburst, but now he has different ways to use his power.
Yeah, I feel like the Destructo disc thing is a little cumbersome, and it doesn't really need to be that. Like, if it was just like little, like spikes, lightning rod spikes, that he could just put
Are you
everywhere.
Are you dissing Hatsume Meme?
It was a joint project between her and Paoloda, so I don't blame her for this. I feel like he made it big and bulky because that's how he does.
I'm just really right now. I'm stuck on the thought of the police chief and how he's probably his own best friend.
Anyway, but yeah, like little lightning rods that he could just pepper everywhere, and then it just makes a lightning web. That'd be really cool. Anyway, the feature upgrades for the costume.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential for it.
Yeah. So Shiketsu dude, Meat Man, just walks in the path of the lightning rod, and he's like, "You dumbass," and zaps him, which distracts him enough and loosens his concentration, which he apparently needs to keep people as meatballs.
Every power has a weakness.
So Bakugo and Kirishima are back in full fighting condition, and they tag the fuck out of that dude. And all the other meat people are no longer meat people and are just regular people. And it's like, cool. Point the buffet. So
Tag, tag, tag.
basically, and they pass. Woo. And we're left with, I think, 9 people from 1A that haven't passed. And there's about 20 spots still open. So we move on to Aoyama and Ida. Ida's just sort of running around trying to help people. Aoyama's hiding in the rocks.
As he is wont to do.
Yeah, it's kind of a running thing, but I can't really blame him that much. And Ida's like, yeah, I'm just trying to help everyone, so if we stick together, I'm just trying to regather as many people as I can. It's, I'm the class representative. It's my job to, make sure everybody does okay. That's what my brother would have done. So I want to be like him. So I'm going to do that. Which inspires Aoyama, who follows him around, helping him do stuff. And eventually they are having trouble finding anyone. And time's running down. The number of spots that are open are filling gradually. So Aoyama decides, okay, if he's doing everything to help, I'm going to do everything I can to help too. I've already got 2 targets taken, so he sort of flops backwards and shoots a laser beam into the air.
Yeah.
Full power for as long as he can.
He holds it for way longer than, the second he could start with.
Yep, and you can hear, as he's still continuing to shoot it, the
rumbly and stumbly.
Gastric problems that he's having because of it, yeah. And he's like, yeah, everyone's going to come over here because I've just made myself a huge target. You can use your speed to tag people as they come, and it'll be okay. I'll get it next time. But instead of that happening, Ida doesn't leave, and everyone else from 1A shows up. And just fucking saves the day, basically. Everyone gets put down except for the 1A people, and they just start tagging the fuck out of people, and everyone's like, thanks, Aoyama, you actually regathered us together. That was really fucking great.
Yeah, that was really smart. You made a beacon. It's like, and Aizo is just like, oh man, I was getting nervous there.
Yeah.
I just bragged about you guys really hard.
Yeah, so they just start tagging people, and one by one they start passing, and Mud Girl, Kami, I think her name is, she passes in the middle of this, so I think the last person to pass was Aoyama. So, yeah.
One thing I kind of like about Aoyama, we also got a little flashback of why am I different than everyone else with him molding his stomach. One thing I like about Aoyama is he is a bit of a coward, even though he's so grandiose. But when he's really needed, he steps up. Back in the training camp arc, his laser saved Tokoyami and actually made things go into a better direction overall. And here, even though he's scared, going to still take up the step forward and be a beacon for everyone. So, good on you, Aoyama.
He's like Neville Longbottom. That's his character archetype. He's like a coward, but he'll step up when he needs to.
Yeah. He's unlike, other cowards who never step up when they're needed.
Yeah. Fucking Minato.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
So, yeah, everyone passes. Yay, everyone passes in the antechamber, and he's woo. And what's his name in the booth is excited again for reasons. That's pretty much the episode, though. Yeah. Pretty solid. Just wraps things up pretty neatly. We didn't need to spend any more time on this than we already have.
There's an after-credits scene.
Oh, I did miss something. Bakugo and Deku talk at the end of it. About, Yeah, and Dekka's like, yeah, I passed. And Bakugo's like, huh, you should with that fucking power of yours. Guess you finally made that borrowed power your own, huh?
And it's like,
Oh, shit.
it's kind of like he didn't scream at me. I mean, he's been
Also,
a little bit
yeah. Yeah,
he's been a
nice.
bit gentler since we rescued him, but like he didn't scream at me and try to hit me. Improvement.
So, yeah, that's good, I guess. But that's pretty much the end of the episode. You said there was a post credits thing.
There is a post-credit scene where they blow up the entire city and then they start the rescue part of the exam.
Right.
It's like next time rescue, like the next part is rescue and then preview.
Yeah, that's probably okay for me to have missed. They're just going to repeat that scene in the next episode.
They're probably going to, but it was just a short little thing establishing the rescue part, which is kind of the forte of like Deku more so than the non-social characters. So
yeah.
like Deku is very good at saving people and inspiring them. So
yeah, there are certain characters that excel in that, and certain characters that excel in combat, which is fair. They're like two halves of the whole hero.
It's like you have the tournament, which is more focused around who excels in power, and then you have this, which is both. You have the power at the beginning, and then you have the rescue part at the end.
Yeah,
of these like two sections of these are two very important aspects of being a hero. You need to be good at both of them. You can't just prioritize one.
Yeah. I might have argued you should probably flip those two exams and do the rescue part first, because if you can't do that, you really have no business being a hero. But I don't know, maybe they flip them every now and again and sometimes do the rescue one first and sometimes do the combat one first.
Possibly. It's also the fact that they have to destroy everything to create a rescue situation.
Do they really? Do they really?
Like, come on. It's like, oh, here's a destroyed city who will come back in a few days after, or come back, like, tomorrow once we rebuild it.
Or just fight in the destroyed city. Also works. Just saying.
Yeah, but then you can't fully use the terrain in terms of combat. You're fighting in a destroyed city, not an actual city, which is what you're going to be fighting in most of the time. If you're fighting in a destroyed city, it means you failed.
Anyway, so
but, that's the logic I see behind it. It's more cost effective.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you remember when they somehow managed to get all of those people, all these examinees, into that one tiny room and then opened the walls to show them the gigantic arena that they'll be fighting in, made of multiple terrain types, including a city, a full city, and a mountain, and a forest? But, you have to be cost effective.
I'm not saying they're consistently cost effective. Just in this case, they're trying to be.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, that's pretty much the episode. We're gonna do rescue next.
I really want to see like a ghetto provisional license exam, where they don't have the resources to make entire like cities and terrains like that. And it's just like, yeah, so we got some cardboard together, and this is what you're fighting in.
Well, I mean, realistically speaking, they don't need like massive budgets to make this sort of thing, I guess. I mean, it's the hero exam, so part of it's probably made by people who are professional heroes who can use their quirks, like, say, Cementos. Who can just literally build a fucking city himself.
I really want to see a spin-off of somebody who gets into the least prestigious hero school and see where that goes. Like, it's the crappiest hero school.
It's like just more self-defense classes is all they get for combat training.
You got graffiti in the hero school. Bars on the
That'd be
windows.
That'd be weird.
I know, right? I want to see what they would look like.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, so that was episode 50, whatever. 6, 7, something. And we'll be back with the next one, which is going to be
57. That's 57 next. We were on 56.
Yeah, so bye, everybody.
Bye.